Oh, Mito-san. Oh, look at this! Look at this! Oh.
ただいま、ミトさん。おかえり、ゴン。あなたがキルアね。
Hey, how about that? So Gon told her about him, or wrote.
帰ってくるなら先に教えてよ。何にも用意してないわよ。
This is enough.
いいよ、適当で。何言ってんの。せっかくお友達も来てるのに。
But yeah, fair enough, fair enough, understandable.
聞いてんの？
Well, I'm really looking towards Killua.
ご飯作ってる間にお風呂入んなさいよ。服も全部荷物から出しといてね。洗濯するから。後で。今10秒以内。
That's right.
急ごう。さあ、食事にしましょう。すっげえ。
Go on, Killua. Ah.
何これ？恵みへの感謝さ。なんだよそれ。
Yeah, a bit of a change for him. Yep, as expected. Wholesome. Really wholesome. I love this. I love this music, man. The score. Oh.
見て。これがハンターライセンスだよ。結構普通ね。
Fair enough. Hey! Hey! Put that in top loader.
本気でやるわけないでしょ。もう使えなくなったらどうすんの？
Yeah, yeah.
遅くなるんでしょ？お弁当作ろうか？いいよ。
Beautiful.
森でなんか取って食べるから。
I'm so smiley right now, man. No hack this time? Hey, there's lunch or dinner. Kind of reminds me of Ed and Al. Go on, Killua. Give us your thoughts or questions. Pops. Gotta go after Pops. Or at least begin.
しばらくはここでゆっくり休みながら情報収集しようと思ってる。ヨークシンに行って親父を探すためのね。
Oh.
俺はどうしよっかな。キルアもここにいて一緒にヨークシンに行こうよ。ああ、もちろん行くけど、お前偉いなって話だよ。俺ってないんだよな。
A purpose.
やりたいことがさ、やりたくないことなら結構あるんだけどさ。
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
家にずっといることとか、家業を継ぐこととか。キルア。俺、キルアといると楽しいよ。
Hey.
なんだよ急に。俺くらいの子供なんか女の子がたった一人だけ。だから同い年の友達はキルアが初めてだったんだ。
Same for Killua.
俺だってそうだよ。ずっと家にこもりっきりでさ、人殺しの技術ばっか磨いてたからな。ゴンが初めてだぜ。キルアは俺といて楽しい？そりゃまあ。
He's getting a little shy.
一緒にいようよ。一緒にいろんなところに行っていろんなものを見ようや。お前、ほんと恥ずいこと平気で言う。
No, he doesn't have a filter. If he thinks it, he'll say it. If that's how he feels, he'll say it.
キルアはやりたいことを探す旅。
You'll find that purpose. I mean, there's a few things they've set up, but...
そういや、お前のおふくろさんって何？
Yeah, there you go. There's a question.
親父のこと以上に聞きづらいんだよね。母親のことってずっと親代わりで俺を育ててくれたわけだから、そういうこと聞くのってなんか悪い気がしてさ。 ミトさんは最初、俺の両親は交通事故で死んだって言ってたんだ。親父が生きててハンターをしていることを知ったら、俺が親父みたいになるんじゃないかって。心配した通りになったわけか。親父のことを知った時、なんとなく母親の方は本当に死んだんだろうなって勝手に納得しちゃってさ。俺にとって母親はずっとミトさんだから。
That's right. Oh.
他にいないんだ。だから聞くこともないし、聞く必要もない。そっか。
Oh man, gone.
俺もミトさんみたいな母親が良かったな。全然。
Oh, she's here, isn't she? Yeah, I've seen it. But still, she is her mom after all. Right in the feels, man. Okay, second half of the episode. Maybe I'll get down to something a bit more serious now. Ooh. He's surprised by that question. Whoa. Oh. Ah. It's a tried and tested formula, right? Coming of age story. Okay. Oh, Pandora's box. Let's open it. She's always chasing him.
突然この島を出ていくと言い出して、なんでって聞いたら、たった一言、欲しいものがあるんだって。
最初ゴンの両親は交通事故で死んだって聞かされてるよ。
Car crash?
あれはミトの両親のことなのさ。
Oh. I was about to make a Harry Potter joke there.
島を出て行ってすぐのことでね。
その後、今度はジンの父親が寮に出たまま行方不明になって、すべてはあいつがここを出て行ってから。
ジンが島に戻ってきたのはそれから10年後。
その時、あいつが抱えていたのがまだ赤ん坊だったあなたよ。突然帰ってきたと思ったらいきなりこの子をしばらく預かってくれないかって頼んできて。
私が分かったよって言い終わらないうちに、そりゃすごい大声でふざけないでって怒鳴って、島中に聞こえるかと思ったよ。
ミトさん。
じゃん、それはいいの。だからあなたの母親のことは何も知らないの。
Let's save that for another time.
見とったらジンに二度と帰ってこないで泣き叫んでね。
おばあちゃん、とにかくそれはその時ジンが置いていったものなの。
How do you open that thing?
それも何回捨てられたかわからないよね。
何回も捨てたのはおばあちゃんが拾ってまた同じ場所に戻す
A
から
bit of nen?
本当に捨てたいものならうちのゴミ箱に入れないで埋めたり燃やしたりするもの
Yeah.
さ。
She put it there because she knew she'll have to come back for it. Or she'll come back for it.
ジン。ジンか。ジン。ジン。やっぱりいいや。そっちの方が。ねえミトさん、もっと聞かせてよ。ジンが小さかった時の話。俺、やっぱり変かな。
A little bit, maybe.
名前で呼んだ
At
方が
first.
しっくりくるんだけど。そうじゃなくて。
If it feels natural, go for it
ジンの
then.
子供の頃の話でいいの？
He doesn't really truly know him as a father, right? So, fair enough.
ジンには同い年の友達っていなかったの？そうね、いなかったわ。子供は私とジンだけ。
何度もあんた迷子になってたものね。
へえ、そんなことばっかり覚えてる。
Hey, that's Grandma's job.
でも山に探しに行くと
Oh,
必ずジンが最初に見つけ
I've
た。
seen that before.
だってあんたったら本当に見つかりにくいところにばっかりうずくまってるんだもの。まるで隠れてるんじゃないかってくらいにさ。
She's so lovely, man. Mito-san. Or she used to hide there because she knew Jing's the only one who can find her. Oh, okay, he's out like a light. How do you open it? It's gotta be Nen. It's gotta be Nen. Because that's like the ultimate test, right? It's like, if you're ready, you'll be able to open it. And if you're ready, you know Nen. Come on, boys. And the requirements of a hunter. Yeah, he gets it. Or maybe just the card? Yeah, I was gonna say, is there an opening? No, use Nen to open it first. Yeah, you meant. Yes. Wow. That one you might be able to open. Ooh. Symbols. Ah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, this time you're right. Oh. Oh. And it's got the same symbols. Ah. Right. No. Look at this. Two little birds.
Yo, Gong.
Oh.
やっぱりお前もハンターになっちまったか。それで一つ聞きたいことがある。お前、俺に会いたいか？初めて聞いた父親ジンの声。それはまるでゴンの気持ちを見透かすかのように単刀直入に問いかけてくるのであった。
A bit of a different background now. Oh, so I've heard. Okay, let's get into it, folks. I mean, that is just as sweet as sugar, isn't it? That episode is just, oh my god, that's, you know, see, that's an episode that really truly feels like something us, the audience, really should savor. You know, I certainly feel that. Sitting here, you know, talking about it right now, I just feel like it's a special episode. You know, those are special moments. And the reason I feel that they should be savored, you know, these moments and these types of episodes, is because I know, you know, it's 37 episodes in now. I know the world of this anime at this point, right? Or at least there's enough setup. There's enough setup there to let me know that, okay, you know, our boys, these lads, these characters are going to be in some tough situations out there. They are going to be in the middle of some really rough experiences. They just are. So for me at this point, these moments really feel even more important to have. I mean, I was certainly expecting something quite wholesome. But yeah, even so, it still kind of, you know, really surprised me. But also just because it's laid back and wholesome and, you know, a change of pace doesn't mean that, you know, it's not important. Because actually there is some fantastic character writing in this episode, character focus in this episode, right? There's some fantastic insight for the elusive Ging, right? The absent Ging, who I finally really get to hear from alongside Gon for the first time, right? Gon, who wasn't really a baby, right? You see in that flashback, he's carrying a young Gon, of course, but he's not a baby. I just kept thinking he brought him over as a baby. He dropped him off as a baby. But no, that's a toddler. So, you know, there is something interesting there as well then. Because up until this point, I thought maybe Gon doesn't remember anything at all because he was a baby, right? But no, he's not a baby. So I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe there is nothing else to it. But the fact that he's a toddler around the time he gets dropped off, that does mean that he did have some time with his father. And of course, they bring up his mother as well, the idea of his mother, the prospect of this mother figure. Killua specifically brings it up because, again, he has no idea. So he's just asking questions, just natural questions that come to him. But ultimately, in one of the sweetest moments of the entire series so far, Gon proceeding to tell Killua that, ultimately, I didn't really feel the need to ask any more questions. Because of the lovely Mito-san, he's never actually felt the absence of that maternal figure. She's always been there for him. She filled that role for him. And you see just how much Gon appreciates her and loves her, right? This is essentially his mom. So, that's just, it's an incredibly beautiful moment. And I love that Mito-san is there to, listen in on this. That's, Mito-san gets a bit of focus here as well. And I'm really quite happy about that because, this is a lovely person. She really is. Her strength really has to be appreciated, right? The love and care, the dedication that she's had for Gon. Even though the family structure itself could be considered a broken family, it does not feel like that one bit. And of course, in that sense, the episode is full of contrasts because I just mentioned the family structure and how, maybe Gon's family can be considered at least a broken family, right? Because, again, given the absence of his father, but realistically, it is so far from a broken family, right? And then again, in terms of contrast, on the flip side, you have Killua, whose family actually is that traditional family, and all those traditional roles are filled. Everyone is present, yet it feels so broken, right? Again, from the outside looking in, this is a talking point I had around the Zoldyck arc, right? That to them, this is normal. That this is their normal. And you see in this episode that Killua is kind of caught off guard by a lot of this, right? Hell, even something as simple as Mito-san greeting him. Just that alone caught him off guard. He's not used to that. He's not used to that type of warmth. And of course, some of the most precious and lovely moments of this episode are Killua's reactions to everything. My God, there's that one moment. He's just sitting at the table, right? He's got this smile on his face and he's just taking it all in. It's just banter between Mito-san and Gon. And this is after he shows her the hunter license. And, to be fair to her, it does kind of just look like a credit card. It just kind of looks like a simple card, right? And she does such a typical mom thing, doesn't she? She starts bending it. My God, I love Mito. I really do love Mito-san. And the thing is, I feel almost wrong, or it feels wrong for me to say just Mito. I feel like I kind of have to say Mito-san, just like Gon, right? Again, out of respect. Even though she's had such limited screen time, I feel like I have such respect for this character. And that's certainly a credit to the writing because it's really quite effectively established her as someone who deserves a lot of respect, right? This is someone, this is someone you can certainly feel for as well, especially in this episode as you gain a bit more insight, right? This is someone who appears to be left behind by a lot of the people she cares for. And of course, it's not all intentionally, but, that's just how life played out, right? She's lost quite a bit. That story about your parents died in a car accident, that was taken from her. That's her story. And then it became really clear in this episode that another really important figure in her life is Ging and remains to be an important figure. Yes, they've clashed or they've had their clashes over Gon, right? Young Gon. But still, I think this episode made it really clear that, Ging does have a special place in her heart as well. She has a lot of she has a lot of love for her cousin. And you really get to see that she really looked up to Ging as a child. So she certainly has her own unique connection with her cousin, right? Complicated, but there is love there. There is respect there. There's a semblance of all of that there, I think. And, this idea of her being so used to seeing Jing's back because he's always on the move. Again, I think another thing this episode really reiterates, even though, it was kind of clear that, okay, of course, Gon gets a lot of this from his father. Most likely yes, he does get a lot of it from his father. Now, the thing is, even if there are a lot of similarities, I'm sure there's some things that are really quite the contrast, I feel. Once they do come across each other, that might actually become clear to someone like Ging, maybe. And I think one of the potential differences between the two, perhaps even by the time they meet, could be the temperament. And I'm speaking of course, Ging and Gon. And actually, before I forget, and I know it's a bit of a tangent, but I think I should just kind of, mention this. It appears that the fishing rod that Gon has might actually be from Ging. It might be something that Ging left him, right? They focus on that photo once again, and he's holding the fishing rod, right? And it's got that little, god damn it. Again, I can't remember the exact term for it, but it's that, the crimson ball thing that's at the front of it. I think someone mentioned it in the comments, the exact term for it. It's something really quite simple. I'm just kind of forgetting it at the moment. If that is the case, now, a question I had a few episodes ago about just the nature of the fishing rod itself, right? The absurd strength of that fishing rod. There could be something up in terms of the build of the fishing rod itself, right? So let's see. But he did leave him something else as well, right? But this special thing that he left him is really quite dependent, or was quite dependent, on the direction Gon takes in life, right? Because listen, if he didn't end up becoming a hunter, if he didn't want to become a hunter, then that's that. That's the end of that. Mito-san she was never going to give that to Gon, right? If Gon didn't go down that path of, wanting to be a hunter and wanting to go out there and, locate his father, track his father. But as Ging most likely, expected, I think it's safe to assume that he expected this. Gon does go down that path. Gon does want to become a hunter. Gon is a professional licensed hunter at this point. And of course, the requirements of opening that box, getting access to the information inside of that box, are the things that you need as a hunter. So like I said, it's the ultimate test, right? There's no possibility of trying to, beat it, or, trying to be smart about it. It's as simple as, okay, if he's a hunter, then he is going to know Nen. He's going to have a license. And those are the two things you need to access that box, right? And the thing is, there's even a possibility that Ging, who is essentially kind of established as this pioneer, this maverick, this, respected individual in the field, people like Satotes even look up to him. There's a possibility that he might have actually had a hand in the creation of this system, perhaps, the design, those symbols, this idea of, infusing Nen into these objects, again, kind of like the band, the thread, because, they really focus on that aspect of it. There's even that ring inside that has the symbols, the design, and of course, it's infused with Nen, or it is going to react to Nen. But yeah, they both felt, or Killua, you really see how protective Killua is in those moments, right? He tells him a few times, just to be safe, right? Don't put the ring on, keep it separate for now. Make an extra recording just to be safe. I'll get to Killua, man, because like I said, there's a fantastic bit of character focus in this episode, character writing, rather. But yeah, character focus as well. But, going back to my point about the family structures, right? The contrasting nature of these two family structures, Killua's and Gon's, through this, it kind of continues some of these really interesting questions about childhood development, right? And parental influence. That is one of the ongoing themes of this anime, of this story. So I thought, the family structures, the two really contrasting family structures, it's a great bit of inversion, isn't it? And, of course, the contrast between the two childhood homes is quite the significant one, isn't it? On one end, you've got, Killua's childhood home, and, this place is just really quite, closed off, right? Elusive, exclusive, right? There's barriers. And then you see here in Gon's childhood home that there's just no barriers at all. There's no testing gates. There's no torture rooms, right? There's no immense family legacy, this burden of this immense family legacy that you kind of have to carry, right? And suffocate under, that sense of suffocating under all of that. It's just not present out here, right? But that being said, I think there is something in common, right? Even Gon's family home, it is a little bit isolated. That sense of isolation is certainly something that is common between the two. But that's a thing now, isn't it? Killua's newfound freedom, right? It's a bit of a challenge, right? Because he is trying to come to terms with this newfound freedom, right? He's trying to just, I don't know, at this point in time, he is just trying to figure things out, right? He doesn't really have a direction that he wants to take, a specific direction he wants to take in life. Because again, up until this point, everything's been laid out for him. He's been told most of his life, this is who you are. This is the thing you have to do. This is the path you have to be on, right? But at this point in time, he finds himself in a really unique and really new situation. Freedom of choice. For now, at least, you have to remember that ultimately, people like Silva, his father, firmly believes that sooner or later, he'll return home, right? He'll return home and he'll take on that legacy. So yeah, let's see. Hopefully that's really far down the line. And I really get to see Killua go on a journey, right? Really find his journey, right? It's not even a case of finding a purpose, a specific purpose. Just finding that journey, being on that journey with his friend Gon. I think that right there is good enough as well, because life is beautiful and it should be cherished, right? And lived to the fullest. And, the journey itself can be just as fulfilling as the destination, right? Yes, it's a bit of a cliche, but, I think you can really apply that to Killua specifically as well, right? Hell, you can apply it to Gon as well. Yes, for Gon, there is really quite a specific destination, right? And that is locating his father, meeting his father. And the thing is, even at this point, there's still no signs of resentment towards his father, towards Ging, actually, specifically because in this episode, he begins to call him Ging by his name. Because again, there's no relation, there's no father-son relation there. He's never actually had him as a father. I mean, yes, technically he did, and he was a toddler around the time he was dropped off. But of course, in the formative years, his father's been absent. So it makes complete sense that he feels really quite at ease calling him Ging, calling him by his name. Now listen, of course, at first I was a little bit, whoa, because again, it's more of like, I don't know, a personal thing, perhaps, but again, I'm not in the same shoes as Gon. I could never imagine calling my dad by his name, right? But again, totally different situation. But the fact that he does feel comfortable calling him by his name, right then and there, it kind of tells you that, he doesn't even have perhaps an expectation of him for his duties as a father, right? He's I don't know, he's seeking him out for other purposes. He's seeking him out and he's going on this journey. And of course, once again, the journey itself really can be just as fulfilling and important, because this journey is going to show him, just why his father, Ging, did the thing that he did, right? Gon has to experience it himself and see the path that his father took. What's so special about the journey his father has been on. So yeah, at this point, I can't really comment on what if situations in terms of, Gon's perception of his father, of Ging, because up until this point, and, right into this episode as well, I don't know, he just kind of continues to have no ill will towards him. At least he hasn't voiced it or anything. But again, this is really quite a simple and earnest little dude, as Killua sees or gets to experience once again, right? He's actually really quite shy around Gon, right? Again, quite the contrast there. He's not used to people being so honest, so open, so warm. And yeah, it's a bit of a struggle for Killua. He gets a little bit shy. But you see that Gon felt it was so important that Killua knows how much it means to him, right? This is an episode of reflection, a lot of introspection in this one, right? It's an episode to come closer. I do feel that they are even more closer than before. You know, there's that moment by that cliff, right? That scene, I think it's really quite the important scene. Now, the thing is, even if Gon doesn't appear to have any animosity towards Ging at this point, it doesn't mean it's not going to change throughout the span of this anime, this story, right? He's going to have a lot of experiences. He's going to have a lot of growth, right? By the time he actually gets to meet his father, right? And yes, I am going to go ahead and assume that he is going to come across him at some point. But again, you know, I believe something like that is a long-term goal, a long-term plot point. That's not going to be, you know, the focal point anytime soon, at least. But yeah, you know, yes, it's possible by the time he actually comes across him, or maybe even once he meets him, maybe some of these feelings could actually come pouring out of him. I don't know how it's going to play out. But again, that being said, and as I've discussed before, you know, Ging walking out on him, right, not being a part of his life, it might have had quite the impact on him in his growth, in his outlook, right, in his disposition, how he carries himself, the things he's open to. It all could have been shaped for that reason, right? That his father isn't in his life, and that everything he's done is in an attempt to kind of understand, you know, why exactly did my father leave me? But, you know, ultimately, again, I don't think he's exhibiting any animosity or resentment, at least at this point, right? It's an interesting, really interesting dynamic because, of course, you know, the really direct comparison to this situation is Ed and Hohenheim. I mean, Ed most definitely resented Hohenheim, right, for walking out on them. You know, he had a lot of animosity towards him. But then I think, you know, you can have Al. You know, Al's outlook and his, you know, thoughts on his father, that is, I think, a bit more in line with Gon and his approach and, you know, his stance on his father's absence. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of similarities actually. You know, even in Ging, it was a joke I made all the way back in episode 1. Am I looking at yet another absent father? But again, there is a possibility here that, you know, of course, Jing's reasoning isn't as, I don't know, dramatic or epic. To me, it's always kind of felt like that Jing's reasoning might be a bit more grounded. And it might not be anything grand or spectacular. And the thing is, a lot of it you can kind of even put together anyways, given his age around the time he had Gon, or around the time he drops Gon off. Yeah, at that point, he's still kind of in his prime. I don't know, his hunter prime, I suppose, or at least in the early exciting days of his hunter era. So of course, maybe it's not the best thing to bring this your toddler around, right, in dangerous situations. It's understandable that he felt, okay, you know, I'm not in a position to take care of this child, and, you know, I'm going to make the choice to leave him here. But that being said, even Mito must have been really quite young around the time she got Gon. Though, of course, she also had help from Grandma. But, you know, the thing is, I keep saying that Ging left him here. In this episode, you really kind of gained that insight on Mito-san's stance on all of this. I mean, at one point in this episode, Mito-san tells Gon that, you know, she didn't trust Ging to actually raise you, right? Something along those lines. Or that she couldn't count on him to raise this young child. Now, it is possible that, you know, this aspect of it might be one of the reasons a lot of you have recommended the 99 episode 1, or the 1999 version of episode 1. Yeah, you know, I'll get to that. You know, it's certainly part of the plans. I just haven't had the chance to squeeze that in. But yeah, let me kind of go back and finish my point about Gon calling his father Ging rather than, you know, dad or father. Yeah, you know, I don't think there's any semblance of disrespect in there. You know, you see that he's actually quite excited. He wanted to learn more about Ging, right? It's almost as if he was able to cross that, I don't know, he was able to cross that line in a sense that, you know, it felt a bit more natural to him now. And ultimately, as far as parents go, you know, the one parent that he's had in his life, the constant, right? It's been Mito-san. That's his mom, right? I mean, that's one constant up until that point. But now he has another constant. And, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but, he felt that it's so important that Killua knows how important he is to him. Killua is his constant. It feels like Gon feels that if Killua's by his side, it's just going to be an incredible time. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay as long as Killua is by my side. And I think, Killua, even though, he's a little bit different from Gon, opposites attract and all of that, of course, you could tell that he feels the same thing, or he is going to feel the same thing as well, right? He's just not able to voice it in the same manner, in the same capacity as Gon, this earnest, simple young fellow. But again, that being said, even if Gon's personality isn't something complex that has to be dissected and picked apart, it doesn't mean that he's not going to change as a person, right? Again, there's a lot of experiences ahead of him, a lot of growth ahead of him, perhaps. I mean, he is going to go through some really prominent character building moments at some point, right? It's a long series. It's a long road ahead. So yeah, let's see. It'll be interesting to come back to this, maybe near the end of the series to kind of compare the person Gon is by the end of the series. Hell, I'm saying that, but it's even possible that he might not change at all, right? Yeah, he's going to have a lot of ups and downs and a lot of experiences, but I cannot leave that possibility out that he might actually be the same person, at least at his core. But the thing is, Killua's ordeal at the moment, the thing he's kind of experiencing and going through at the moment, it is just so damn relatable, isn't it? In terms of finding that path, in terms of structuring those aspirations at different points of your life, right? It really is quite relatable. So of course, I'm really, really quite excited for Killua's arc, his development. It's an ongoing thing, this journey of his, or at least him trying to find the journey to go on as well, right? For now, the journey is accompanying his soulmate, and again, I say soulmate in a different sense. A soulmate doesn't have to be in the romantic sense. No. Your best friend can be a soulmate. So I feel that at this moment in time, the best thing is to be alongside Gon, his best friend, to accompany him, to be on this journey together, right? So yeah, I'm really quite excited about this. And I'm excited about the next episode, right? A bit of a cliffhanger moment there. So yeah, let's see if this mini arc is going to conclude in the next episode, or maybe I could see a 3-episode arc. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. And if you enjoyed it, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you are interested in early access to the next few episodes right now, or perhaps even timer-based full length, or full opacity, consider checking out the Patreon page and potentially supporting the channel. The links are in the description and the pinned comment. Also links to social media, things like Twitter and Instagram, if that's your thing. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for episode 38. Until then, take it easy.